welcome your Star Wars Weekend's host, the man with the freakish vocal range and free first names, James Arnold Taylor.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Are we having fun? Star Wars Weekends, week 4, coming to an end. Has this been just a fantastic weekend? Yeah. Boy, I am so honored to be the host here. This is my 4th year hosting Star Wars Weekends. I'm, of course, the voice of Obi-Wan Kenobi on Clone Wars, for those of you that may not know why James Taylor's up on stage not singing Fire and Rain. But he looks like David Spade. What's going on? And now I have the most awesome privilege and honor to interview somebody that I'm privileged to say is a friend, but also just an amazing actor and certainly Star Wars royalty. Take a look at these screens. Ladies and gentlemen, Mark Hamill! Please sit.
Oh my gosh, we've done 3 of these now, and I have to come up with new stories.
Well, it's okay. You did 3 movies there, so that's all right. Yeah. Hey, can I ask you? Have you been working on anything new? Come on, I had to take the shot.
I didn't even hear what you said.
I asked if you've been working. All the better. See, you used the Jedi mind trick on me. I said, have you been working on anything new?
This beard.
Yeah, nicely done.
It's taken so long. This is since April 29th.
Really? So it just
takes forever. See, I thought I'd be clean shaven for this weekend.
Yeah.
And I sort of backtracked on the calendar. I thought, oh no, I'm not going to make it. So, I don't color my hair. And I thought, well, I don't have that much gray. And then I grew the beard and I was in the state of shock.
Don't get so bad. Mine is all white. I'm really Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Yeah. Well, for any of the younger people that might be slightly alarmed, just tell them that I'm Luke's grandfather. And we don't want any frightened little ones.
And I just want to cover this a bit. I am such a fan of Star Wars, obviously. And the thing I loved about it was the first time I saw it in a drive-in theater in San Jose, California, back in '77.
Drive-in theater with that great sound.
Great sound quality. One little speaker. It was like a cell phone. No, I was surprised. I was amazed, and I was just engulfed in the story. And that's the beauty of movies, is when you get in there and you just dig down deep into that story. And the thing about that is when you don't know every aspect about it before you go in. It's like trailers give everything away nowadays. So I don't really think I want to know all that much. I just want to know, I'm glad you're in it. And I'm happy that you're in it, but I'd like to talk about your career here today and,
Well, you can imagine what it was like, because I got the part after an interview with George, like I told before,
Yep.
a co-interview with George for this movie, and Brian De Palma for Carrie.
Yep.
Then I got a scene in the mail, and we shot that on video. I did that with Harrison, who I knew from American Graffiti, so I recognized him, and I thought, ooh, he knows George. Maybe he can give me some insight. And I'm saying, is this like a parody, or are we making fun of this? I mean, is it a joke? Is it like Mel Brooks?
It's hard for any of us to imagine, because we all know Star Wars now, but yeah, you wouldn't have known. There wasn't really anything like it before that, so it could have been a parody for all you.
Yeah, well, it seemed like, I didn't really know, because like I say, it was only 7 or 9, 10 pages. The experience that I'll never forget was, my agent said, you got the part, and they're going to send the script over. And I had this little 1-bedroom apartment at the ocean in Malibu. It saved up all my TV and soap opera money, and had this place out at the beach. To sit down and read that script, wait a minute, I'm Luke in this thing? Because I thought when I did the screen test, Harrison looked like the leading man. I thought I was the sidekick. He was the guy that in control, and I was like the annoying, sidekick. And I opened the page, and it said, the title page, believe it or not, said, "The Adventures of Luke Skywalker as taken from the Journal of the Wills, Saga number 1, The Star Wars." And I went, wait a minute. I think I'm Luke.
Yeah.
Why isn't it, The Adventures of Han Solo? So I started reading this thing, and it's, people can't imagine, because with John Williams' fantastic score and all the wonderful effects work, it's hard to imagine how impactful it was just to read it. And it was. I mean, when I'm reading this thing, I went, holy moly, this is really floating cars and lightsabers and
I've never asked you about that, the lightsaber. I mean, it's commonplace for us now. Did that blow your mind at the time? Were you like, I can't wait to see how this is going to look?
What is this? Well, it's a beam of light, and it can cut all these things. And there was description enough in the text so that you sort of understood what was going on. But I'm telling you, I read it in an hour or two, and I went right back to the beginning and started reading again. But I was like the wind was knocked out of me. I called my friend Jonathan Benaire, and he worked at the LA Art Museum, and I said, look up every fantasy and science fiction movie since the original King Kong, and I want to see what the grosses were. And he said, why? I said, I just read something that I'll bet you anything that's going to be just as popular as Planet of the Apes. And I meant the original one with Charlton Heston. Because the whole idea was, I knew, my agent said, well, if this one's successful, then there's going to be a 2 and a 3. Although the numbering was confusing. I was like, episode 4, huh?
Yeah.
Looking under the couch cushions. Maybe I lost the first part. But that was the idea, is to get you, the idea was to make you feel like you'd come into it having missed a few chapters.
Yeah, and again, kind of ahead of its time.
And I remember saying to George, the very first day that Darth Vader entered, I wanted to be on set that day. I didn't work that day, but listen, it was so much more interesting to be on set than just being a tourist in London. So I said, I want to be there on the day that David comes through the wall.
It was the big scene that we know.
Yes, when he first comes through.
Yeah.
And because I loved the costume. I said to George, wow, it's cool. It's like Dr. Doom.
That's great.
Gave me a dirty look. There's influences. There's so many influences. It's pirate movies. It's cowboy movies. It's the Dam Busters. It's the Hidden Fortress. As we know, it's been, every element, put together makes it all, everything old is new again.
Yeah.
But in any case, I remember during one of the breaks, I said to George on the day that Vader enters through that wall, and I said, aren't you going to cut to 2 guys saying, that's the Dark Lord of the Sith, he's,
give you the exposition.
He goes, no, we'll just play some scary music, he's all dressed in black, they'll know he's the bad guy. What a model of brevity, of course. Anybody that dresses like that, there's something wrong.
Yeah, he's not going to be going, hey, how's it going?
Exactly.
Now, I don't know if you're aware of this, just a couple weeks ago, we celebrated the birthday of Star Wars. It was 37 years ago, just a couple weeks ago, that it all happened and it all began.
How can that be true when I'm only 42?
I don't know. That's what I was going to ask you.
I'm happy to be Luke's grandfather. I've accepted it. In fact, I should point out that I'm the exact age that Sir Alec was when he did Star Wars. Today I am.
Wow.
It's true.
What a chemistry. What a chemistry instantly with some characters that are, actors there, some characters that are droids, some are Wookiees, and you all just had this beautiful, wonderful chemistry. But
I loved it. There was a contrast too between, it seemed like all the bad guys had gone to RADA. They had gone to the Royal Academy of Dramatic Art. Lord Vader, your sorcerer's ways have not given you no attention. Remember that guy? And my wife, I had met her, she was a dental hygienist, and I took her to see, I said, I did this movie called Star Wars, and she said, is it anything like Star Trek? And I went, yeah, it's exactly right. Rather than explain, And I'll never forget this. This is one of the reasons I love her so much. She's watching this scene, we call it the bad guys boardroom scene, and Richard Lapointe has that line, he's the skeptic. That line I just quoted. Lord Vader, your sorcerer's ways have not located. She's, everybody's riveted because it's, you've had that great shot overhead, that usually really grabbed them. You've seen Darth Vader, Peter Cushing's involved, and so it's very gripping. And after Richard finished his line, she leaned over to me and went, bad cats. She's a dental hygienist. I probably should have said that at first, set it up. My point is, it's like, talk about your limited perspective, So for years now, we'll see Reds or whatever, and she'll say, oh, the dentistry in that was totally anachronistic.
Everybody has
to things from a dental point of view.
From a certain point of view.
I have so many family here that I'm surprised it's like a whole section.
Yeah, it's actually
I have
most of the
nieces
audience
and nephews, and Diana and Mary and Bill and Joey and Emma and Evelyn and Connie and Nancy, my mother-in-law. Who am I leaving out? Bob. And I have my three children, Nathan, Griffin, and Chelsea. And for all you people that love Star Wars minutia, Nathan was born in St. John's Wood when we were doing Empire Strikes Back. So, and he has a cameo in Phantom Menace that even I can't see where he is. Because you know how they do that thing where they print like 12 people and they print it,
yeah.
Hundreds of people, and it's like, there he is! I've never seen it.
Wow, that is great. Well, okay, so now, getting back to this chemistry, does it just happen on a movie sometimes where you automatically you think, these are people I'm going to hang out with, we're going to have stuff in common, we're going to work well together, or sometimes you work well together but don't have the chemistry?
Well, it's always different, it's your job to fool people. So maybe you have someone that's playing your wife or your girlfriend and you just don't get along, but on camera, you have to do all those things with sense memory of, with someone that you really do love. So actors really do their jobs well. I have to tell you though, with Carrie and Harrison and I, we just got along so well that we were doing things outside of the shooting. We'd go out together, we'd go to restaurants and so forth. And part of that was bonding because we were Americans, in a foreign country, and we were all British. But, Carrie had gone to the Central School of Drama, so she had much more of an affinity for the British way of life. And in fact, in the movie, she's got a little. I thought I recognized your foul stench. Remember? She had that sort of, and we had, see, that was a line that really cracked me up. I said, why would you go and talk about someone's body odor if you're trying to, win them over? Don't mention anybody's foul stench, It doesn't really work well.
That's a great one.
Oh, yes.
Look at that. That's very good.
Okay, so you know why it's like that? that because an explosion's just gone off. They would squib the set, you know, and fire these things off. So that was sort of a
little reaction
why did
to
they
it.
print that picture?
That's great. Now, speaking of pictures, if I show you some images, can you just fill us in on
Sure.
Yeah, so, okay, let's see. We have some stuff here. Can we put something up here? Let's see what we got.
This is a conversation with Mark.
Tell me about that.
I think they're going to need an easy one first.
Oh, wait, Aaron, okay, how about this one then?
Oh, yes. Well, the thing is, I love the illusion that it creates, but there's a making of where they have the camera back.
Yeah.
And you see that there's a mattress, like right here. Because all I have to sort of lean out of shot, because the camera stays there and you just lean out and you're out. But sometimes I lose my balance and fall off the kangaroo thing.
Tauntaun.
That tauntaun. Oh gosh, I'm a Star Wars trivia.
It's okay, it's okay.
I just blanked on it. So of course it's a tauntaun.
But they're good eating, you know.
Yeah.
Those tauntauns.
I've been inside one. Don't
Yes.
tell me.
Speaking of being inside something, I've always been curious about this. Did you have to be like certified as a diver or anything?
Yes, in fact, they took me to an all-girls school, and and there was scuba gear. I said, I don't think it'll be a problem for me, but they said, no, we want to make sure that you don't panic or anything. And so I got to go to this private girls' school, and they had this gigantic pool, swimming pool, and I loved it. I wanted to stay there for hours and hours, and then I came up one time, and up on the second floor, I mean, a whole classroom of kids had come out, all, 10 to 14-year-old girls, because there's some oddball yank in our pool. I was dressed better than that, but I remember when I got fitted for those oversized Pampers, I said, George, if you make an action figure of this, I'm going to come looking for it.
They haven't done it.
He said, no, we never will. And I think they haven't they?
Have they done it? Anybody have
they
that?
lie all the time.
Oh, so yeah, there's somebody has one.
Somebody has one.
Now,
I don't, thank God.
Was this like going to be some other, like an outtake? I've never seen this before. But it's like
I never
face
have
mask.
either. They do a lot of these production stills, and for the most part, they.
There's Kasdan there.
Look, there's Larry
There's
Kasdan, who wrote the screenplay. That's Larry.
Yep.
And this is.
A puppeteer?
Yeah, but Peter, I'm blanking on his last name. Not John Mallow. I'm blanking on it. But what happens is there's so many photographs taken, they take way more than they need. And for the most part, the movies come and they go, and it's all, but now, over the years, there's photographs that they never would have released.
Yeah.
Because of the demand over the years, they wanted to show more and more and more.
Sure. So it's just going to be like a scene as part of the whole
And
medical
another thing
story.
George doesn't print very often are the outtakes, which is a shame because we had some really hilarious stuff.
Yeah,
I mean,
there's only a few out there, but they're great.
Well, when you think of the absurdity, and you're sitting there with this decorated, a man who's been knighted for his dramatic ability, Sir Alex, sitting right next to this gigantic, overgrown
Carpet kind of, there you go, walking carpet.
And so, and like I say, George is he's a minimalist when it comes to direction.
Yeah.
His mantra was always faster and more intensity.
Yeah.
He'd say that to me, faster with more intensity. Then I'd overhear him with like his faster with more intensity. He eventually had T-shirts printed up. Faster, more intensity. And then we would bump into people from American Graffiti. Cindy Williams and I worked together one time. She goes, Did George still use faster with more intensity? I said, yes. I said, exactly. My favorite one, though, was especially with all the explosions, it was that whole thing. Because, once squibs go off, you have to reset it. Everybody has to get out of the cockpit. They let the technicians get back in and load up the squibs. So you have like 45 minutes to an hour between takes. And, so it's, one of the lines that was jinxed for Harrison was, it'll take a few moments for the navigator to calculate the coordinates. See, I can't even say it myself. It'll take a few moments for the navigator to calculate the coordinates. Well, not only is it a tongue twister, but when you have squibs going off, it's going like, it's gonna take a while to get all the info. and if the squibs go off, you still have to do it all over again.
So, yeah, you can ADR it later.
Well, yeah,
A little.
I mean, George, you can get away with so much, but that whole thing, that's no moon, that's a space station. That whole thing, when that was all over, you know, we thought we done pretty well, and we looked out at George, and he was standing there, he was always scratching his beard like this. We look at him and we go, and when he sort of got it back together, he goes, let's do it again, but this time, do it better.
Yeah.
Wow,
that's the
this guy's
direction
going to
you
be
want.
nominated for Best Director for sure. Do it better.
These ones, we uncovered these. I love these because look at the connection. There's, I mean, that's a beautiful shot, isn't it? And he's so real.
That's it. You know, looking into Yoda's eyes, he from the very first day of rehearsal, I came in on a Saturday.
Yeah.
When they had the full, because we had done with the dummy Yoda, you know, the mouth was articulated, but the eyes and ears weren't. But when they had the full on with Frank doing, Frank did the mouth in the left hand, and Wendy did the right arm, and then there was somebody on ears,
Yeah.
and there's Wendy, and oh no, look,
Yeah.
he's doing the mouth in the left hand, okay. But like I say, that's and see, this was a picture they wouldn't let out for decades,
No.
you know. But once I looked into his eyes, I mean, I was just gone. You know, it's an interesting thing if you watch small children when they do the Muppets, when they're not trying to even hide.
Yeah.
They don't look here, they look right here.
Right in the eye.
So
And there you are.
it's not hard to absolutely believe it's real.
Would
And-
you hear
and
the
Nathan
voice?
was small enough where he sat and had his little lunch in Yoda's house, his little PB&J. And he's got the most interesting scrapbook ever sitting in the banker's hand. It's all like before he can really remember though, because he was born June 25th of 79 when we were making the movie. So by the time we did a Jedi would have been, what, in 82.
Yep.
And he was a full-on, you know, Muppet and Star Wars maniac.
Wow. To grow up in it, though, that must have been pretty cool. Huh?
And he hasn't changed. He's pretty much the same today.
Yes, he is. Very talented young man as well, though. So,
No, I also, when I point out, Colin Steeping was my stunt person through all 3 films. And they let me do a lot.
Yeah.
The only thing they didn't want me to do was the springboard out the
Those can be actually pretty dangerous.
glass.
Yeah.
It wasn't glass. It's basically the same material that they make lollipops out of.
Yes.
And the stunt guy said, "Can you do a flip off a diving board?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Oh, you can do it." Because they had just
That shot,
yes,
yeah.
exactly. And they had reams and reams of those big packing boxes, like when you move, like beacons, with mattresses. And they had a ring of stuntmen all the way around. And I said, "What's the ring of stuntmen for?" And they said, "Well, if you bounce off, we'll try and catch you on the first bounce."
We'll try. We'll try.
But the thing was, that shot right there is
Yeah.
Colin, and I think he really deserves all the credit in the world because I wanted to do it, but the insurance people said no. And you run, and there's a springboard, and he might have done that from freestanding just for the still. But on the shot, he ran and did the springboard.
I seem to
and
recall
ran
seeing
out.
there's some video, I think, somewhere even of him doing that.
Well,
It's pretty
let's see. I
remarkable.
mean,
Yeah.
I
guys
could
have
probably
shot there?
gotten away with saying that's me, but everybody was.
Yeah, you say, let's say it's,
They'd
that's,
say, no, they
you did
that's
great
not
in that shot, Mark. Come
You
on.
know that ass anywhere, it's not him.
Okay. And here we go with another. Now see, I'm curious about this with you and Sebastian Shaw.
Sebastian Shaw.
So for those of you that may not know, Sebastian Shaw was the actor that performed Vader, Anakin Skywalker at the end of Return of the Jedi. Because now a lot of people know, of course, there's another Anakin there. But very
Well, it was sort of twofold because it's like demystifying a character that you imagined in your
all
head.
those years. What
Yeah.
does he look like? What's under the
Exactly.
mask?
So, but at the same time, he had such humanity in his face.
Yeah.
It was very moving. And he was in place. I mean, he couldn't get up and walk around the set, so I got a little apple box and sat next to him between takes. And we did that all in one day. I think even in the morning, we might have been finished by lunchtime. But
and did you see him before? Did you see the makeup before that first reveal?
No, because he got in so early. It's the same with Ian McDermott. I eventually said to Ian, you know, he's the emperor. He would come in at 4 o'clock, and I would get there at 6:30. And also when I was done, I just had to jump in the shower and shampoo and wash my face and
wash the Luke off you.
That's exactly. Wash all that Dagobah off me. But,
that's right.
Ian, and by the way, I knew it was a tauntaun. I just like to tease you. But I said, and Ian, it took him like an hour and a half to get out of that stuff. So I said, we're never going to even know what he looks like unless we invite him out to the house. So Mary Lou and I had him out for you know, a traditional Sunday dinner. And up the walk comes this young guy with red hair. I mean, unbelievable. Now he's sort of caught up to what he's supposed to look. I mean, in terms of his white hair, he's still got a very youthful energy.
But wasn't that brilliant, though? Isn't that awesome that he got to play the part all those years apart, and then it fit just perfectly? Yeah. Hey, here's another shot that I'm curious about. This gentleman right here, John Williams.
Oh my gosh.
What?
John Williams. Well, first of all, we never really thought about the score when we were doing the movie. And Gary Kurtz, one of the producers who did American Graffiti and the first 2 Star Wars movies, was going to pick me up to take me to do the ADR.
The automatic dialogue replacement. So sometimes when you shoot a film, the audio is not good for some reason or another, and you have to redo the stuff. So that's what Mark's talking about, ADR, for those of you that may know.
And he said, look what I have. I said, what's that? He goes, I have the finished score from the London Symphony Orchestra for the movie. I said, really? Would you like to hear it? Are you kidding? So he puts it in, and it's a stereo system in a car.
In a car, so yeah,
it's fantastic.
Yeah.
I just was overwhelmed because, you know, a lot of times science fiction people think, oh, Moog synthesizer, very cold electronic music. And here was this sweeping score that, you know, reminded me of old pirate movies. You know,
was it?
Yeah, the theremin.
Yeah.
That's a theremin. And, you know, he would tell me what each track was. He goes, okay, now this is the princess's theme.
Yeah.
And he played that, you know. I said, where's Luke's theme? He goes, your theme is the main title theme. I said, it is? Why don't you call it Luke's theme? He goes, no, it's main titles.
Well, we call it Luke's theme.
Missed it by that much. But listen, again, I have to say before we go off John Williams, you can't give him enough credit in terms of the overwhelming emotional resonance that movie has because of a full orchestra.
It's been said like George Martin is to the Beatles, like the fifth Beatle. He was really another character in the film.
Absolutely. Yeah. And the fact that he's going to do episodes 7 through 9.
There's only one of this guy right here too. So, what was this? I mean, you've given us a lot of great stories about George, but
well, it was many years and many pounds ago. Although they made me go on a regimen, which is, and I tell people, they say, "What diet do you want?" I said, "If it tastes good, don't eat it."
You look great, by the way. Doesn't he look great?
30 pounds since last summer.
Wow.
But no sugar, no carbs, no dairy, no fun.
Same number.
Although just on the Star Wars weekend, I've had popcorn.
I'm grateful for Star Wars weekends.
Because, you know, I keep saying, I said, look, I don't know what the odds are. You think maybe my wardrobe might be robe-oriented? because voiceover artists, we get away with murder.
Yes, that's true.
People don't have to see us; they just have to hear us.
It's true, but you are actually a very impressive voice actor, and I make my living as a voice actor, and I got to tell you, you are one of the top. You are one of the top, and it's so great.
One of the top.
What's that?
I knew James Arnold Taylor years before his association with Star Wars. One thing I love about voiceover is it's so liberating because since you can't be seen, they don't physically, they listen to what you're performing rather than visually try and pigeonhole you.
But the brilliant
thing, I'm too short for a stormtrooper. I'm way too short for the Joker too. He's like 6'2" or whatever.
Yeah, but that's the brilliant thing. And the thing I love is when you're in the studio, you have no inhibitions. Some people get in, especially celebrities will get into the studio and they're very self-aware. Right. And you just become the character and you just all of us.
I love it. Like I say, it's liberating not to be seen. You don't have any sort of performance anxiety because people can't see you. It's sort of like telling your kids a story at night with the lights out. It's all imagination. And I'm trying to think because I thought, well, it's Disney weekend. I haven't done a lot of Disney. I did 2 Little Mermaids. I played Sebastian's rival Zeus, which was great fun because he's wonderful. Sam Wright is his name?
Yeah.
Now, he was on satellite. I wasn't in the same room with him.
Okay, yeah.
But then I came back and I played Hans Christian Andersen when they told the story how he wrote The Little Mermaid.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I did.
Do you remember what you did for the voice on that at all? Was it for Hans Christian Andersen?
Well, I said, all weekend I worked on my Danish accent. They said, no, we don't want any accent at all. I thought,
just you?
What? Only Meryl Streep gets to do accents?
Hey, now how about there's this one character?
There's a new one called Gravity Falls that I've done.
Yeah, Gravity Falls. You know Gravity Falls?
Yeah. I haven't seen it yet. I just did it, so it'll be probably about 6 months off.
Regular show, right? Regular show?
Regular show, now we're in our 6th season.
Isn't that awesome?
I tell you, I'm a terrible predictor of success because I read the script and I thought, 3 episodes and we're canceled. Because it was so strange.
Yeah.
It was so strange.
It's a very strange show.
I play Skips. He's sort of unflappable. Nothing gets him excited.
That's not Luke Skywalker, come on. Right?
But I love Skips because nothing throws him whatsoever. And I remember after the first season, everyone said, fingers crossed for season 2. And I said, yes, and I'm so proud. I'm the only cartoon character that I know of with nipples. Normally they just don't draw them. Even Tarzan cartoons, he doesn't have that.
Well, happy Star Wars weekends, everybody.
And it's
Hey, how about another character who always stays clothed? The Joker.
Yes.
You set the gold standard for all other voice actors, and there's been many that have done a great job with it, but everybody always says, but Mark's Joker is really
so many great actors. Kevin Michael Richardson, Jeff Bennett, Michael Emerson, Brent Spiner, Troy Baker replaced me. Because I retired the voice after Arkham City. No spoilers, but it doesn't end well for the Joker. But I do miss him. There's the one fun thing about playing a character who's insane is he's unpredictable. And if he's unpredictable, he's never boring. And I remember when I went in I had done one role, because I said, I want to be on Batman so bad. And they gave me a part on Heart of Ice, where Michael Ansara played Mr. Freeze, and it was the first episode of Mr. Freeze. And I was really happy to be on the show. Kind of upset I wasn't Mr. Freeze at the time, but that's the old actor ego kicking in. But if you see that episode, it was so well written. It won an Emmy for the best writing. Paul Dini wrote it. And I was playing this really insincere guy that has a public face and a private side. And I'm the one that pushes him into the solution. Bruce Wayne, nice to see you. It was really an homage to one of my idols, Phil Hartman. But, and I got in there and I just let my fanboy flag fly. I was saying, are you doing Dr. Hugo Strange? Are you going to do Clayface?
Because you know comic books.
I
know these characters.
And I wanted to know if they're going to go beyond the mythology that was used in the TV series or any of the movies. To tell you the truth, because 6 weeks later they said they want to know if you want to audition for Joker. They didn't just give me that.
Oh, really?
And I thought, ooh, that's a little high profile that I'm sure to disappoint. I mean, I know how I think he would sound, but everybody has an idea of how the Joker would sound. I would rather be Clayface or Two-Face or anybody that they've never heard before.
Oh, man.
So I went in and it was a drawing not unlike that one.
Yeah.
And I looked at it and I thought, he's all teeth. He's all teeth. He's all teeth. And I wanted to get a little a blue meanie in him. If you've ever seen Yellow Submarine, I wanted it to feel like he was teetering on the edge of losing it at any moment. Like it was a really an effort for him to maintain some sort of sanity because he's so unpredictable. And later I asked Andrea Romano, who directs all the episodes, I said, what was it about my audition that got me the part? And she said, oh, undoubtedly it was your laugh. And I had been doing Amadeus on the road we did about 6 months on the road, and then I did another 3 months on Broadway. And one of the characteristics of Mozart is that he writes this just celestial music, but he has an abrasive, shocking laugh, like the bray of a donkey. And when you're doing 8 a week, at least for me, I always try and find a way to keep it fresh, so you don't get into, like a mechanical performance. You want to try new things and make it different each time you do it. Yeah. And obviously you can't change the lines, so I would change the laugh. As long as the laugh was a shock to the Viennese court, that's all that was required. Sometimes the stage manager would say, hey, watch it, you're getting a little Jerry Lewis in there. I am not, I'm just doing good like I want. But no, so I had an arsenal of laughs, and what happened was they had cast another actor, so they had finished footage, and so instead of doing the line clean, I had to do with the beeps, beep, 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 and then come in on the imaginary fourth beat and ADR. Yeah. There's more of a technical session.
Because you have to match that other person's lip flaps and beats and stuff.
Live action, because lip flaps are sometimes a little bit liberal in terms of being so specific, but you know how your confidence changed, because when I'm driving out of the parking lot
after the session,
that's the best Joker ever. They don't hire me, they're crazy. And well, about 3 weeks later, my agent calls and says, "You got it." And I said, "What?" And they said, "They want you for the Joker." And I went, "Oh no! Oh, I can't do it." I said, number one, I don't even remember what I did. And number two, I'm sure the major majority of fans are going to say it's awful. Because, and my friend Phil Keller, who's an actor, calls and says, "Boy, that's pretty brave of you." I said, "What?" He goes, "Well, I wouldn't want to follow Jack Nicholson in anything." I went, "Oh, no! I didn't even think of that." Well, horrible. Thanks a lot, buddy, for leaving to another actor to throw, terrible insecurity into the mix. So, I mean, I went 180 degrees from being really cocky and thinking that's the best Joker. They've got to hire me, to sheepishly driving in and thinking, "Oh no, I'm going to be terrible."
The Joker was great, though. Your Joker is, again, the gold standard.
As you know, they have reference tapes.
Yes, they can play you what you did.
And I said, and they said, "Oh, we'll play it for you." I went, "Oh." And they put on a tape, and I went, "Oh, okay, that's okay, I got it."
So, I don't know, if could we trouble you for a line or two of the Joker?
Oh, sure.
It doesn't have to be anything big, just 1 or 2 lines.
Just 1 or 2 lines, because I
yeah, but
something went up on YouTube, and I got a very frosty letter from Warner Brothers reminding me that A, I no longer play the character, and B, we're going to sue you 6 ways from Sunday. It was basically a really nicely worded cease and desist letter, and it was mostly because I did a whole I seen, you know.
Come on, but we had fun when you did it. It was great, but you know.
Yes, I remember it. It was a eulogy.
It was a eulogy.
Where Joker believes that
he believed Batman was dead.
that
some thug was the one that killed him.
And they bring this guy to him that he Sid the Squid, they call him. And it was Matt Frewer played him. He was this little nebbishy guy. And Joker, without Batman, was just lost. As he says, without Batman, crime has no punchline. Which, again, is a wonderful character attribute of him, that the only reason he does what he does is because he loves the game with Batman.
Yeah.
There's a certain rhythm to these things. I play my trade. He shows up, we go round and round and start all over again.
There he is. I love the Joker. Thank you, Mark. Hey, Mark, do you mind if we take some questions that we've had from hashtag Ask Hamill? By the way, if you are not following Mark Hamill on Twitter, you're insane. So let's see. Do we have his
I have to thank my daughter Chelsea for that. She's my Twitter wrangler.
She does. Oh, there it is.
You haven't tweeted
Okay,
today.
if you have a smartphone right now, you take it out, you go to your little Twitter, and you go Hamill himself, and you put it in there, and you follow him, because it's great. It's great. I love following you. I love seeing where you're at. I see all the fun pictures and all the fun that you do. It is fantastic. And tell everybody else to do it as well, okay? Because this is a great way to stay in touch with what you're doing. But we have been doing hashtag Ask Hamill and getting some questions. You mind if we take some of those? I have them here. Do we have them on the screen as well? If we do, go ahead and throw them up, but I know I have it here as well.
Oh, and I should say, the person who's replaced me as the Joker is a
Troy
wonderful
Baker.
actor, Troy Baker.
Yes, you said that. He's great.
He's on regular show as well. In fact, Roger Craig Smith did the young...
He did Batman in the new one there with Troy. It was fantastic.
I never thought I'd live long enough to have somebody play the young me. Give me a young Mark Hamill. We don't want that old buddy-buddy.
Okay, here's a question for you that I was interested in. Have you ever been awestruck by any actor or musician, a personal hero? What?
Gosh, I mean, the list is far too long. I went out for Henry Fonda's sitcom, and I sat down on the couch and I opened my mouth and went, just relax, you know. I mean,
You got it.
It took. I didn't get the part, needless to say, but yeah. I mean, come on. I remember being on the same airplane as George Harrison.
I was going to ask if you had met any of the Beatles, yeah.
And I said, God, I'm not going to bother. Because I had walked past John on Columbus Avenue, and I remember thinking, one of the things he said he loved about New York was people left him alone.
Yeah.
So I said, don't go up to him, Mark, leave him alone. Just stare at him like a stalker. And, you know, so I sort of like looked a window shop. And I'd seen him a couple of times on my way to work, you know, because we go down Central Park West and he was right there, 72nd. But in any case, in this case, I thought, well, George is on the outside of the plane. I sent a note over with the stewardess saying, you know, thanks so much for the music, you meant more to me than I could say. And then the stewardess came over and she said, Mr. Harrison, I'd like to meet you. Go over there. And 33 and a Third had just come out. I thought, well, be smart. Don't talk about the Beatles. Talk about his solo work.
Yeah.
I know how to work a celeb. So I said, oh, I love Cracker Box Palace. I mean, one of the things that so comes through your music is your humor. And I also praise the fact that he financed the Monty Python films.
Yeah.
So, you know, I went on. And I mean, again, I was worried. When she said you can come over and meet him, I thought, I better test out my voice because, you know, I'm going to cry like a girl. But after I finished a minute and a half of praising him, he looked up and he said, "You're not so bad yourself." Well, I could have died and gone to heaven right there. And I did meet Ringo in a club in New York, and I never met Paul. So I've seen John, and I met Ringo, and I met George. And Ringo, we were seated in the club where they had these pits, you know, these couches and so forth. Yeah. And so, you know, it wasn't like I went up to him. He came over with Barbara, his wife, and they sat down and I went, Mark Hamill, oh, Ringo, I'm such a fan, and I instinctively hugged him.
Yeah.
I didn't realize about 3 days earlier he'd been in a car accident.
Oh, no.
His ribs were taped up from the car accident, so he winced in pain, and so there's my badge of honor. I physically hurt him. That's so a shame. Now, by the way, I always ask permission, may I hug you?
Don't hug me,
but at least in the future.
Did Ringo say, the force is strong with you, Luke? No, I had to take it. I had to take it. Come on. Okay, how much more fun was it playing a bad guy, Darth Bane, which you played on the Clone Wars, than when you played Luke Skywalker, the good guy? Is it fun to play?
I love doing that part. I never saw it.
Hey, we have the clip. Do we have the clip? Can we see it? You want to see it? Here, Mark Hamill as Darth Bane on the Clone Wars. Take a look at this.
Sith Lord, you are.
And know why I am not forgotten.
Created the rule of two, you did.
The Sith killed each other, victims of their own greed. But from the ashes of destruction, I was the last survivor. I chose to pass my knowledge on to only one. I created a legacy so resilient that now you come before me. Have you come to be my apprentice? You must kill me to gain my place.
Dead you are already.
Then what stands before you?
An illusion. Real you are not.
You do not fear me.
Never exist you do not anymore.
Hey, Mark Hamill, huh? There was Mark Hamill in some new Star Wars right there. You got to see it here.
That was Tom Kane.
That's Tom Kane.
Yeah,
Yoda will be here next
I
week.
just went in and did it on myself. My son Nathan knew the history of Darth Bane because I didn't even really realize how he fit into the scheme of things.
Oh.
And, but I remember the very first time I read the first Star Wars, mispronouncing his name, I remember saying to my agent, who's playing Darth Vader? Because he's got an amazing part. I think one of the reasons actors enjoy playing villains is it creates chaos for the protagonists.
Yeah.
And we like a reaction. If it's love, so be it. But if it's sheer hatred, we'll take that too.
Well, I think there's nothing but love here, right? In fact, hey, James. How are you? Of course.
Hello, Mark. It's very nice to meet you.
Now, a little tradition we do here.
Yes, sir.
Every time a new guest comes to Star Wars Weekends, we have to bring them into the family. And how else can we do that but to give them their very own Mickey ears? So, Mickey, on, and look at that.
Oh my God.
So those are for you, Mr. Mark
Ask
Hamill.
an actor if he wants a free thing. You Betsky.
From Jedi Mickey, nonetheless. Now,
Wow,
I'm
really?
gonna put my ears on
It
it.
fits just like my yarmulke.
Mickey's all set. So would you mind do you mind doing a little singing with me, or have we help kind of close this show out? Yeah, and Mickey, would you help us close this show?
Aw, it would be my pleasure.
Okay, so you just follow along with me. I think you'll know the parts. You know these things. Okay, so can I get a little music, maestro? Now it's time to say goodbye to all our company. M-I-C,
See you real soon.
K-E-Y.
love you.
That's it, everybody.